Hello, friends, and welcome, welcome. We're going to get right into it. So, find your upright posture or whatever posture you're working with today. But you have points of contact that are in the floor. And since the beginning of this year, right, we've really been trying to focus on some of the foundations, one of them being the root to rise principle. So, root down through all your points of contact without being aggressive. And notice how that rooting down allows your spine to rise up. But just a reminder, don't let your eyebrows rise up, your eyelids, your jaw, your shoulders, right? Those bits we can still keep soft and hanging from the frame. Take a few moments and just check into that holistic body, right? Any and every aspect you can think of that you can notice. And talking about how this starts to really tune you into your individual body and also provides that transition to move us from whatever was before into this moment here on our mat. And then go ahead and reach those arms out. You can open the eyes or not. Turn the palms up and inhale up. Exhale, bring the hands down. So we're just going to kind of start to move some of those joints. Inhale, keep the shoulders soft even as the arms reach over. Exhale, down through center. This time when you get up overhead, go ahead and stay there. And then we're going to toggle back and forth. This one's pretty familiar to us, I think. Right? Find your breath. A little bit of neck play. You might turn and look down initially and then turn to look up before you take off to go over to the other side. So you get just a little twisting action through your neck. And then stay to the right and get that left buttocks heavy, lengthen away. All the way up, moving over to the other side. Again, once you get settled in, sink the right sits bone back down and lengthen. Sits bones, buttocks bones, ischial tuberosity, all names for the same two protrusions on the bottom of the pelvis. And go ahead and come on up. I'm going to take off a layer here. The fire is heating me up this morning. So go ahead and come down onto your back body. Right, we'll meet there. So the last couple of weeks have been that idea of bringing your pelvic floor and your corset into play so that they are stabilizing the pelvis, right? So we'll move into some of that work here. Right? Interlace your hands behind your head. Take an inhale, yogi sit up. So I don't come up high, but I exhale, I pull my low belly down, flattening my low belly, and then I lift my upper body just a little bit. Add into it that when you come down, you move into a little bit of an arch. Right? And exhale. It's almost like I have stages. One, my belly pulls down first, and then I lift my upper body. Now, if you want to add on the next stage, it would be one low belly down, two upper body lifts, three elbows up and in. And coming down, moving into the arch, and do another one of those, right? 1, 2, 3. And again, if any of this confuses you, it was broken down the past 2 weeks. Go back to those videos. And in the next ones, we've got 1, 2, 3, and maybe the knees come in towards the elbows. That's 4. Right, slowly release it back down. And one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. And slowly release everything back down to the ground. Bring your arms into Shavasana style. Walk your feet wide, lean your knees in. Actually, let's do full constructive rest. Cross your right arm over your left, right? Walk your shoulder blades apart a little bit and then soften your fingers and your hands and just let your arms drape. Inhale. Right into the back of the upper body. Do one more. Inhale. And exhale, uncross, recross, left arm high on right. And you can take a second, kind of walk yourself into it, right? The depth of it, and then soften and let go. Inhale into that upper back. And exhale, soften whatever you can. And again, look for the expansion on the inhale. Inhale. And the release, the softening on the exhale. Okay, bring your arms back down. You're going to interlace your hands, maybe other index finger on top, just to play with that rhythm, that asymmetry usually, right? And bring it behind your head. Bring your feet back together to hip distance. Now, before you lift up, imagine all those bits and pieces we've been breaking down, right? Go ahead and move your legs into an imaginary block for pelvic floor and inner groin. Tone the corset. And I'm not rounding my low back into the floor right now. I have a little bit of space between my floor and my low back. I'm in my natural curve. Now from there, go ahead and lift your legs up into tabletop, maintaining all of that work. If you can't, maybe you just flex your feet and leave your heels down, almost lift, right? And still a little bit of space between my floor and my low back. At this moment in time, inhale. On the exhale, push the low floating ribs down, lift the upper body, and now you can round the low back down into the floor. Now, this one is bicycle, I've heard it called sometimes, right? We're going to push the left heel forward and let the right elbow move towards the left knee. And inhale back. Left heel pushes forward, left elbow towards right knee. So cross body, right? Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Move slow. Try to bring the legs back to tabletop. If you're like, you're not, I know, I'm just noticing that myself, and I'm trying to refine that. You do what you can. If the heels need to drop a little bit or the knees need to stay closer to the chest, we do that. Not a big deal. Do one more full set. You'll know you're complete because the left elbow will have moved towards the right knee. And then after you've done that, you're going to go ahead and lay your body back down, bring the knees in, and circle the knees. Okay, so hopefully we are now warm through our abdominal area. We've got all those muscles we were teaching the past couple of weeks working for us. Okay, so now I want to do one more thing on the ground that we're going to add on to when we get up, right? And it's going to be harder when we're standing on our feet. So it's that idea of Agnisara, right? And if you don't know Agnisara and you're brand new to it, please go back, do the Agnisara videos, figure it out, right? Don't just pop into it. This is big stuff. It's our nervous system we're talking about, right? Take an inhale, soft belly, the belly floats up to the sky. And with your exhale, let your belly pull down, let the tailbone lift a little bit. And then when all the air is out, pull the belly down a little bit towards the spine and up towards the crown of the head, like you could vacuum your belly out, like you could hollow it out. Inhale. Soften the belly first, I should say that. And we're going to do 3 of these. So it'll exhale, pull the belly down, let the low back flatten. When all the air is out of the lungs, pull the belly to the spine, to the crown of the head, hollow out the abdomen. Hold the air out. Soften the belly. Inhale. Last one. Exhale. Soft belly. Inhale. Let's do a bridge before we come up. Feet on the ground, hip distance. I mean, hopefully they're already there, but go ahead and arms by the side. You're going to push into the feet and roll up. You have the grabbing the edges of the mat or the interlacing option, whichever one works for you. Rock your shoulders underneath you and gently push down through everything on the floor. See if you can't even get your elbows and your wrists to the floor, right? The inner edge of the feet to the floor. And then go ahead and imagine, if you will, that I put a strap around your wrist. Push out into the imaginary strap just to fire up that upper back a little bit. The other part of the core we haven't done much with yet. And release the arms and roll down. Bring the knees in, grab the backs of the knees and rock up. Right now from there, go ahead and come to hands and knees. Feel free to pad knees. I just don't here because I happen to have a very thick carpet underneath me. They're already padded. And move in and out of cat cow. Let the spine just unwind. And of course, you know I like to move you through all 6 motions of the spine. We'll be adding twists in. I mean, I guess technically we just did a twist. It was just more of a working twist. Okay. And then inhale the chest forward into cow, right? But then exhale back into child's pose. Inhale up into cow. Exhale back, downward dog. Inhale into cow. Exhale, child's. Inhale, cow. Little faster breath today. Hopefully still cultivating calm, even though we're moving with strength and a little faster than I sometimes teach, right? But this is going to be that kind of churn and burn. So we're just activating. Okay. Now inhale your right leg up into the air behind you. And then when you exhale, you're going to move forward like you're coming to a plank and go ahead and bring your right knee over towards your left elbow. Kind of familiar to where we were, slightly different take on it, right? Inhale that up, bring that down. Just won the first round here. Left leg's going to reach up, square hip, toes point down, right? Inhale. I come forward towards a plank and I pull my knee towards my elbow. I pull my belly up to the sky and reach that back and bring that down. Inhale, right leg up. Exhale, round the belly. It's almost like plank, but you're coming across the body. Send it back. Set it down. Inhale, left. Coming forward, rounding the spine, left elbow towards right knee. Send it back. Set it down, arm break. Come on down into child's pose. This time, let your forearms rest, whether that's on the ground, in front of you, beside you. And I'm gonna leave my head lifted just for vocal quality, right? So I like to build little fist pillows and lay on them. Let the arms and the rest of the body be soft. I've often enjoyed just letting my hips sway a little bit from side to side. For me, that helps. I hold a lot of tension in my low back sacrum juncture. Okay. So now go ahead and come on up into not child's pose, so sorry, downward facing dog. Reach those arms forward, push those palms down, right? You don't have to rush up into it, set it up. I think it's a lot easier to find the movement of the upper arm, the hands, all the different bits and pieces before I'm bearing weight, right? There's something to be said about that practice as well, to get into a difficult posture and then try to find the bits and pieces, but I think it's a lot harder on the body. Take another breath. Walk your hands back to your feet. You'll end up at the back of your mat. Bend your knees so much it's like you could lay your ribs on your thighs, grab your elbow points, drape the head, the arms. Feel free to shake around a little bit if that helps you loosen and soften things. If you have a spot in your back that feels tight or restricted, right, maybe you bring your awareness and your breath to that spot, that area. Okay, now bring your fingertips to the ground in front of your feet. Sit your hips back like you're sitting back into a chair. Lift your toe petals so you find the weight in the heels. You can leave the toe petals up or bring them back down. Tone your ribs up, and then inhale, reach your arms forward and stay low if you can, right? So it's a very low chair. It's a lot of work. Reach your buttocks bones back and your fingers forward, and then inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, arms down. You feeling a little bit of heat? Come on up to the top of the mat. And I'm going to I just got to be careful I don't punch my brick because I think the brick will win. Inhale, reach those arms out and up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Bend your knees, plant your hands, step, step, plank. Top of a push-up. Bring the knees down the first round, bend the elbows and come on down. I'll get you the full push-up, I promise, in a little bit if you want it. Inhale up, low cobra again. Upward dog, I'll get you there, right? Before you come up, I want you to pause here, lift the hands, make sure it's the upper back doing the work. We're going to transfer our arms, reach back and either interlace or just palms next to each other. So I want you to notice how much this is like bridge, right? Upside down. So I want you to imagine that you had a ceiling coming down, right? That you could push up into with your arms, your wrists, your pinkies, your shoulders, the whole 9 yards to open the chest. Keep the belly toned up. Keep the feet pushing down and the thighs buoyant. Take a breath and come on down. Bring your hands to your side. We're coming through a half push-up. Curl your toes up. Under and then tone your belly up, 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 find your pelvic floor, all this stuff, and then try to straighten the arms and push up. Let's meet in downward facing dog. Try not to shorten your stance once you get there. Hello, beautiful body. Inhale. On your exhale, come up on your tippy toes, bend your knees, look forward, step or jump to the top of the mat. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, coming all the way up. Exhale, hands to the heart. One recovery breath. Inhale, slow the breath down. Check in, see how you're doing. Inhale, reach those arms out enough. Exhale, fold. Inhale, coming halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold. Hands down, step, step, plank. Now this time you can bring your knees down if you want. We're going to do an exercise here and hold it, right? So you can bring them down or you can leave them lifted. Take an inhale and you're in neutral spine, I call it, right? On exhale, pull your belly up, tuck your tailbone a little bit and look back to your navel. So that should feel pretty familiar, right? Inhale, we've already hit this a couple of times, but it's harder here. And exhale, try to do that one more time. Now stay in that position and see if you can bring your right knee towards your left elbow, but my body's not really moving this time, right? My left knee towards my right elbow. One more time, right knee towards left elbow, left knee towards right elbow, and come into neutral spine and come all the way down. Interlace, other index finger, right? We'll get the feet this time, but let's start with the upper body so we can feel that idea of this being like bridge. Push the feet down, thighs get buoyant, right? Move the tailbone down, pull the belly up, and then inhale, push your arms, whatever formation you have, right? You're pushing as if you had a wall coming down to your shoulders, your pinky fingers, your wrists, your back of your head, everything pushes into that ceiling coming down on you. Now breathe, right? Keep the belly toned up. And maybe the big toes reach back so much that the heels also come up to that same wall, I'll say, right? And let the heels push into that imaginary ceiling. Inhale and exhale. Feet come down, hands come down. Either half push-up or full push-up. I think I'm going half because I've already done my own practice today, something like this, right? Tone the belly, the pelvic floor, and come on up, meaning in downward facing dog. And even if it's not morning where you are, good morning body, like, oh, I bet that body feels a little bit more alive than it did just moments ago. How lucky are we? We got to wake up and get out of bed. Not everybody got to this morning. Inhale. On the exhale, come on up on the tippy toes, bend the knees, look forward, step or jump. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, coming all the way up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Take a breath. Okay, so we've got one more standing piece here. We're going to do a twist, but you may or may not want the block or need the block in order to bring your hand down. We'll bend the knee a little bit and we'll come over so you can just have them on standby. And, you know, if you don't end up needing them, I think it's way easier to kick blocks out of the way than it is to move them in. So my feet are wider than my hips, but not quite as wide as, say, like triangle or warrior two, something in that realm. And you can always adjust once you're in, of course. Bring your hands onto your hips, right? Move those shoulder blades down the back and get long, tall through the spine. Now you're going to go ahead and you're going to inhale the left arm out. Exhale, bend the right knee, and then go ahead and just swing that arm down, either onto the block or you can come onto the floor, right? Hand a little more towards the pinky edge if it's available. Now from there, bring your right hand palm down onto your sacrum, right? And I want you to really push the sacrum towards the butt side of the room right now, away from you, I could say, right? And feel the low back lengthen. So I push it just gently a little bit away, tuck my tailbone in, I could say. Inhale, lengthen the spine, and then exhale, now push down into that left hand, maybe turn and look up. And you can leave that hand on the sacrum, or you can reach the right arm up. And here you are in Prasarita Padottanasana twist, I'm going to call it. Take another breath. And inhale, come up with strength. So put the hands on the hips if you need to for sensitive low back. Otherwise, inhale, both arms are going to reach out. Put your left hand on your left hip, right? Bend your left knee and bring the hand down to a block or to the ground. Inhale, get a little longer through the spine. Bring the left hand onto the sacrum. And again, this one, I really like this one for most bodies, right? So push the tailbone in a little bit. I lengthen my low back, if that makes sense. Yeah. And then from there, go ahead and push into that right hand, and you're going to start to feel the twist in the rib cage, the rib basket. You can leave the hand on the sacrum. You can reach the left arm up. And then breathe. You can turn and look up if that hurts your neck. Look in front of the chest. Looking down would be gentlest, right? So find the version that works for you today. And then again, maybe coming up with strength, toning abdomen like crazy, inner groin. Inhale, come up through center. And bring the hands down. Walk the feet in. Breathe. So I think all y'all know where I stand with like moving really fast and doing really strong things, but this is the time of year to do that. I don't believe we should push ourselves all the time, but we are starting to move towards that late winter, early spring when that kapha, that heavier energy comes into our environment and possibly into us, right? So when we work rigorously, it's going to keep that heaviness at bay, hopefully. We want to be stable. We want to be sturdy. Those are great qualities. But when it gets to the point where it's like we can't get out of the chair, we can't get out of bed, we just feel heavy all the time. We start eating cookies and pastries. Or is that just me? Or is that anybody? Anybody? One piece of work on the way down. Bend the knees, touch the floor with your fingers if you can, or almost touch it, right? You can lift up the toes or imagine lifting up the toes, but kick the weight back into the heels. One more time. Don't lift the butt up, but reach the arms up. Push into an imaginary wall with your pinky fingers, counter, right? And then bring it all the way down to the ground. Okay, one more here. Janushasana, one more seated pose. One more, the only. I want you to put your left hand your right hand in front of your right leg, your left fingertips behind you. So I'm framing my leg, but I'm framing very widely, right? And I'm going to use a little bit of leverage. I'm going to gently push into that knee, that leg, to turn my belly button, not my chin, but my belly button towards that thigh, that left thigh. And then keep doing that as you fold out over today. And at some point in time, you'll want to bring your arms a little forward. Yeah. Or you might want to. Now, if you can grab your shin, that's great. If you can get your foot, that's great. There is no right or wrong here. There is no better or worse. But here's some little reminders. Yeah, maybe. Let that belly button continue to turn as if you still had that action, right, of that right hand against the right leg, just gently. That's not aggressive. And then did your right buttocks lift and come with you? Let it sink back. Let it be your foundation. Left leg working, it's your foundation too. Inhale, coming up. Let's switch our legs out. You'll notice I don't take a ton of width, but I do like my leg out a little bit. Some Janu Shirsasana is taught from here. I like a little bit of width. That's where my pelvis does quite accurately. Left hand in front of the leg. And then from there, bring that right hand back behind you, right? Don't get crazy twisty on me. Inhale, get tall. And then I'm going to push gently into that leg to turn my belly button towards that thigh. And then I'm going to keep kind of that action of assertive action of moving into the twist as I fold. And then my arms may or may not come forward. Actually, I'm finding more benefit keeping on that leg and finding that little bit of action, because that's the spot on me. That is my tightest spot in my entire body. And breathe. So again, hands could be on shins, they could be on the foot. Activate your right leg, keep that active. Left buttock, see if it came with you, and if it did, invite it to go back and down where it started. And just that little bit of that twisting action the whole time. You have a forward fold, right? You've got a little twist happening here. Inhale, reach the arms, the chest forward and up. Janu Shirsasana is one of my favorites because it does do a few different things in the body, right? That's the sound of you getting down to the ground. Don't ask. See those arms out, walk your feet wide, and just let your legs just do a nice, gentle windshield wiper, a little release. Now, when you feel complete there, you're going to go ahead and you're going to bring your knees, keep your feet wide, right? And your knees stay kind of above the hips, so to speak. I'm turning slightly so you can see. My friends who've been with me for a while, you know this one well. This time I'm not going to let my hips lift like they do in windshield wiper, but I'm going to let my right knee drop in towards the center. I'm moving my thigh into what's called internal rotation. You get an element of this in windshield wiper, but when the pelvis lifts, it's really not so much about the thigh bone moving in the socket, it's the pelvis moving. Now, some of us, we can walk our right foot out wider than our mat and then let our knee drop back in again. And don't be aggressively pinning the right hip to the floor, but think about it being made of lead or something like that, right? Rocks, big rocks, a sandbag, I don't know. And bring that knee up, walk the foot back to its neutral, which is as wide as the mat. Let that left knee fall over, a little foot flex goes a long way. Keep that left hip heavy, right? That might be your edge. Maybe walking out. And if this hurts your knee, get out. Why are you doing this? Walk your foot wider. I don't mean that meanly, but honestly, why are you listening to me? Listen to your body, right? We got to take some accountability for our practice at some point in time and start to be very honest and truthful with ourselves, satya, right? And do the work our body needs that moment in time, which is not always the same. Left knee comes up, walk that foot in. And then you got the two options for Shavasana, which would be leave the feet where they are, lean the knees in, right? That's one way to have soft hips here and more space in the low back for most of us. Or maybe you extend the legs out to straight. Bring your arms into Shavasana. And we won't be here for real long, but let's take a couple of moments here. This is a very important pose. And all schools I've studied, taking these moments where you not only integrate what just happened in your body, but you get to digest. You don't have to consciously do that. You just have to be still. So all touch receptors, right, are in stillness. All sensory organs are stiller, pratyahara, right? We turn our senses inward. We'll be here for about another 40 seconds or so. Keep scanning the body, observing the breath. And If you feel like you want to bring any movement back into that body, now's the time to do that, right? It can look like anything because who cares what it looks like? It's what it feels like. Yeah, whatever feels good. And then roll to the fetal position at some point in time. Maybe take a breath before you make your way up to an upright posture. And you're at home. I invite people. I don't say it every time, but if you are ever in Shavasana doing one of these videos, anybody's video, and you feel like you could stay there a little longer because it's relaxing and rejuvenating, not because it's going to bring you down in depression, right? But because it's relaxing and rejuvenating, like stay there. You don't have to get up right now. Bring those palms together in front of the chest. Inhale. We worked with that Anjali Mudra last week, right? All of this is so gentle, like I would barely see movement in your body, right? We gently push hands together and we feel those elbows lift lightly, right? Shoulder blades move down the back. And as the bottom tips the shoulder blades gently let the chest lift to the thumbs, we have all that space in the lungs. Inhale. Exhale, bow the head. Taking a moment of gratitude. Namaste, friends. May all beings everywhere be well.